Hey everyone, welcome to Yoga Precision. I'm Lewzey and I am so excited to welcome you back to class. The last couple classes we worked on the hips, so I'm hoping that you took those classes before. First one was the inner hips, second one was the outer hips. So today we're going to put it all together and do like a 20-ish minute practice, maybe a little bit longer. Sometimes I tend to go a little longer than I think I'm going to go. So 20-ish minute practice, really putting into practice what we've worked on in the last two classes. So these two actions combined, inward and outward rotation, really bring us into an incredible place of spaciousness, balance, and stability. So let's get started. You're going to need a couple blocks and a blanket. All right, so we're going to start off in child's pose. So have your props near you. You can take your blocks to the top of the mat, just in case you need them, okay? And have the blanket more towards the back part of the mat. So come on down. Take your big toes to touch and your knees apart, and then slowly rest your forehead down onto your mat. Spread the fingers as if you're taking downward facing dog. And lift the armpits up gently, so make it a little bit more active in your arms. And just start by taking a few slow, longer breaths. And bringing your attention down into your pelvis, into your hips. I want you to direct your practice today through your hips. So our hips are really the most central part of the body. And when the hips are free and spacious and strong, we feel so good. The energy can move freely up and down the spine, down through the legs, into the earth. But when the hips are tight and stuck, we get stuck. The energy can't move freely through the body. So come on up to your hands and knees and bring your shoulders over your wrist, your knees under your hips, and just feel your spine is in a neutral alignment. And again, really try to keep the attention on the hips as we move. So you're going to take your right leg and stretch it back behind you so it's parallel to the floor. And then you're going to bend the knee and lift the right knee way up to the side and bring it all the way around to touch your right shoulder. And then take it up and back behind you, turning the right leg in as it goes behind. Now keep doing this at your own pace and feeling that range of motion that you're getting in your hip joint as you go. So when the knee comes up to the chest, to the shoulder, it's more of an outer rotation. And then when the leg goes behind, it's more of an inner rotation. Do a couple more. And try to keep your arms straight. And then take the leg back behind you and pause, turning the top of your right thigh in. Now exhale and draw your right knee into your nose, chin into the chest, and then keeping the knee bent, take the leg back, arch your back behind you as if you're trying to touch your head with your toes. Now keep doing this a few times slowly with the breath. Exhaling to draw the knee in, and again feel this deep flexion of your hip as you draw your knee in towards your forehead or your nose. And then this is extension of the hip as you arch back. So we want that range of motion in all directions. Now next time the leg is back behind you, stop there. Take your left hand, reach back and see if you can catch hold of the top of the foot or the ankle. Press the foot into your hand and up towards the sky. Press down through the right hand and arch the back a little more. Spread the toes and breathe.
Good. Now release the hand and extend the right leg forward. And then draw your right knee into your nose again and use your core strength and step the foot through between the hands. Good. Now you're on your fingertips here in a low lunge. Your back knee is down. And then move the foot over to the right and bring your hands on the inside of the foot. So now with your right toes pointing straight, focus on the action of internal rotation. So squeeze your thighs in as if you're hugging a block. Press the inner thighs back and actually allow your pelvis to shift backwards at first. So it creates an untucking action in your pelvis. Gaze forward and try to move your lower back in so it's in more of a concave curve. What we want to try to avoid is approaching it like this. Now, what you can hopefully see when I come into it from here is I'm actually bypassing my hips completely, and then I'm just hunching my back. So as you turn your thighs in and press the inner thighs back, it unravels the spine, sending your chest forward. Now sit down into your right hip and walk your fingertips out in front of you. And breathe here. You can stay on your hands or come on down to your elbows. Keep the legs firm and engaged. So what we're not doing is collapsing down into a heap here. So there's always that sense of drawing back and engaging muscles around the bones. Now come back to your hands. And then now turn your right foot out about 45 degrees. Good. So now feel the outer edge of your right foot pressing down all the way up the outside of your right leg to your outer hip. And you can take your right hand and press that outer right hip down. Bring your hands back into onto the mat here on inside of your foot, and then just descend, but with more of a focus on the outer right hip now. Pressing down, and again, you can stay on your hands or come down to your elbows. Can you feel the relationship between the outer edge of your foot pressing down all the way up the outer leg to the outer hip? Good, and then come back up slowly, and we're going to take the right leg back and up into a three-legged downward facing dog. Keep the hips square, wrap the right hip down at first. Now bend the right knee and start to open up that right hip. So you're stacking your right hip on top of your left. You're pressing your outer left hip back and your outer left heel back. So take a quick look at your left leg right now. Your toes, your kneecap, everything should be pointing straight forward. What tends to happen is the leg rotates in. We want to rotate it out, outward rotation. Now straighten the leg and square your hips again. Take a big step with the right foot all the way through between your hands. Turn your left heel down and bring your hands inside. I'm going to turn around here so you can see me. So now your hands are on the inside of your right foot, right leg. You're drawing energy up from your legs here and sitting down into your right hip. Now, work on internal rotation at the top of your thighs. Move the groin back and unravel your spine. So it's the opposite of hunching the back. Again, this is what I want you not to do, this. Okay, if you're doing this, use blocks under your hands. Give yourself more height, and then see if you can get the groin to go back and the chest to go forward. Now start to push the mat away with your right foot and start to straighten your right leg. Place your right hand outside your ankle. Use a block if you need. Turn the belly and the chest and slowly unravel into triangle pose, reaching up through the fingertips. Now bend the right knee, come into side angle pose, sweep your left arm all the way up and over, and again, turn your belly and your chest and gaze up to the sky. big stretch. And then bring your hands down. I'm going to turn back around this way and step back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here, pressing the top of the thighs back, lifting the armpits. And then you can either keep your knees bent or work slowly to straighten the legs. And then bring your knees back down. And we'll do all of that to the second side. So hands and knees. Now we're going to take the left leg and stretch it back behind us. Now take that left knee out to the left, around to the side, and touch your left shoulder. And then bring it back behind you and extend. Keep going now at your own pace. As the knee goes around, it's outward rotation. As it goes back, it's inward rotation. All the way around, getting lots of range of motion in your hip joint. So again, keep the attention on what's happening in your hips. Couple more. And then the next time the leg goes behind you, leave it there. And as you exhale, draw your knee into your nose and round your back. And then inhale, keeping the knee bent, take it back and arch your back. Curl back, toes towards the back of your skull. Again, exhale, round the back. Inhale, arch the back. Open the chest. Exhale, round the back, flexion of your hip. Knee into the nose. Inhale, arch the back, extension of the hip. Now leave the leg behind you here. Take your right hand and reach for the top of the foot or the ankle. Press the foot back and up. Press down through your left hand and lift your chest. And curl back, curl back. Now slowly release. Good. Take your left knee into your chest again, and this time step it all the way through between your hands. So here you are in your low lunge, second side. Move the hands inside and the foot to the outer side of the mat there. Engage the legs. With your left toes pointing straight forward, work to turn your thighs in first. Moving the inner hips, the groin back, and unraveling the spine. Again, we want to avoid hunching in the back here. So keep moving the groin back. Now, bend the left leg again and sit down into your left hip. You can walk your hands forward. Trying not to collapse down. So always keep that sense of muscular engagement in your legs. We want a combination of strength and range of motion, not one or the other. Often people think of yoga as all about flexibility. It's not about flexibility, it's about learning how to realign your body and bring it back into its most natural state. Come back up to your hands and turn your left foot out about 45 degrees. So now the focus is more on the outer left hip. Press the outer edge of your left foot down, all the way up the outside of the leg to the outer hip. Press your outer left hip down, and again, descend. Maybe you come back to your elbows. And breathe here, opening the chest. Can you explore the relationship between the outer edge of the foot, the more you press there, all the way up to the outer edge of the hip. And then come back up slowly to your hands. Take your left foot back to a three-legged downward facing dog. Keep your hips square, wrap the left hip down, and then bend that left knee and open up your left hip. Now look at your standing leg. Is it starting to turn in? So the action here is outward rotation of that standing leg, pressing your outer right hip back and your outer right heel. Now straighten up the leg, square your hip, and take a big step through between your hands. Put your right heel down and bring your hands inside of your left leg. Now pull up the muscles in your leg, so you don't really need your hands here. Turn the top of your thighs in, unravel your spine and gaze forward. Then sit down more into your left hip as you keep your back leg very, very strong. Now walk your left hand around outside your left ankle, push the mat away with your left foot, and begin to slowly straighten your front leg for triangle pose, Trikonasana. Turn the belly, turn the chest, and extend your right arm up. Now take a full breath as you reach up through your fingertips and ground down through your feet. And then exhale, slowly bend the left leg. Keep your left hand outside the ankle if you can, on a block, of course, if you need. Sweep your right arm up and over, side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. Turn the belly and the chest and reach up. And then exhale, place your hands down and step back, downward dog. Now walk your hands back to your feet, the back of your mat. Walk your feet out a little bit wider and then turn the toes out 45 degrees and come on down into a squat. Now if your heels don't want to stay down, this is why we've got the blanket here. You can use the blanket under your heels, so you get your heels to ground on something, okay? So use that if you need it. Slide your arms inside of your legs and bring your palms together. Now, same thing, bring your attention to your hips. All the way from the inner edges of your feet to your inner hips now. Can you move your inner hips or your groin back? And if you watch me do this here, what you'll see when I move my groin back is my butt actually starts to lift up and go back. And then I'm working to get my lower back to go in and the chest to rise up more. So again, it's not dead weight down on the mat. You're pushing down into the mat so that you get this lightness and up through your body. Now, you're going to slowly place your fingertips out in front of you and then bring your body down inside of your legs. Press through your feet, lift your hips and try to straighten your legs. Come back to Uttanasana. Turn your feet parallel and fold over. And breathe. Now walk forward and go back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. Exhale, step it through between your hands. Come to your high lunge position, bring your hands to the top of your front thigh. Stretch through that back leg, push down through your front thigh, and slowly curl up. Now again here, work on your hips. So turn the top of the thighs in, move the groin back, then outward rotation lengthens the tailbone down and tones the outer hips. So you feel very solid and strong on the hips as you sweep your arms up. That freedom of inward rotation with the stability of outward rotation. Now stand on your right foot and see if you can do this in one step. See if I can do it in one step. Step forward. Wrap your left thigh around your right thigh. Tuck the toes behind your calf muscle if you can. And then hook your right arm on top of your left. Palms together. Sit the hips back and down. And lift the chest. And then undo your left leg. And again, in one step, back to your high lunge. Big step. Sweep the arms up. Reach up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, left leg goes up. Step it through between your hands. High lunge. Bring the hands to the front thigh and then eventually all the way up. Sweep the arms and reach. Now feel again the inward rotation with the outward rotation, the toning in the outer hips. And then in one step, step through, wrap your right leg around your left leg. Take your left arm on top of your right and sit the hips back and down. Lift the chest and breathe. And then again, in one step, release the right leg and step it back. Sweep your arms up, lifting from your core. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. And let's go through one slow Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. So lower yourself all the way down. Draw the shoulders up and back. And curl up to Cobra pose. And exhale, come all the way down softly. And push back, downward facing dog. Smoothing out your breath here. And then come on down, take a child's pose. And rest. And walk your hands slowly backwards. And we'll grab our blanket to sit on. And then we'll take the right leg and we'll cradle it. So you can do it a couple ways here. You can take both arms and wrap them around the outer shin like this. And then use your arms to bring your leg in carefully. Sitting up tall. Okay, or if you could go a little bit further, you can wrap your left arm around the sole of the foot and the right arm around the top of the knee, and then interlace the fingers. Now hug your right leg in, sit up tall, and then do little baby cradle movement. Sometimes we call this flossing the joints. We do the shoulders, the hips. Just a little bit of movement there for the outer hip to release. And then pause, hug the leg in, and sit up tall. And then do it again, just little baby cradle movements. Just releasing the hip and then hug it in. Okay, next step. Take your right hand, so same hand as leg, to the outer edge of the foot. Lift the foot and then lean over onto your left hand. Now, do a huge action at the top of your hip of inward rotation. It's kind of like a dog at a fire hydrant. So it looks a little bit funny, but the action here is to get the groin to go back, to release the inner hips. Now, go back to your cradle action and focus on outward rotation. Bring the sit bone down and hug the leg in. See if that actually created more freedom. Let's do it a couple more times. Hold the outer edge of the foot, lean over, and inwardly rotate, moving the groin back. And then outwardly rotate, sit the sit bone back down, and hug the leg in. It's amazing, actually, how much freedom that creates. Do it one more time. Inward rotation, move the groin back, and then outward rotation, bring the leg in and hug it in. Okay, now take your bottom leg and bring the shin forward so it's parallel to the edge of the mat. Keep that right ankle flexed and very carefully, mindfully protecting your knees, stack your right shin on top of your left shin. Bring your fingertips behind you, press down and sit up tall, lift your chest. Take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, either stay here or fold over your legs slowly. You can bring your fingertips out to the side here, but do the best you can to keep the chest open. So again, we're trying not to hunch the back. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back, and then inhale, come back up slowly. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Ground your thighs and reach your arms to the sky. Good, let's do the second side. So bend your right knee and then cradle your left leg. So 2 options. You can wrap your arms around the outer leg or around the foot and the top of the knee. Interlace your fingers and hug in with that left leg. And then start to do just little baby cradle movements. It's not very much. You're just trying to isolate that outer hip. And then hug the leg in again, pause and try to sit up tall. And again, little movement. And then hug it in. Good. Now let's do the second phase. Hold on to the outer edge of the foot with the same arm as leg. Place your hand to the side, lean over, and do a big action of inward rotation. So you're moving your left groin back. And then outward rotation, bring the leg back and hug it in towards your chest. Do it a couple more times. You can just go at your own pace. Hold the outer foot. Big inward rotation, dog at a fire hydrant, right? Stick your butt back and then outward rotation. Bring the leg in. See if it helped. Create a little bit more space. One more time. Big inward rotation. That's it. And then outward rotation. Hug the leg in. Sit up tall. And then bring your bottom leg, your right shin, so it's parallel to the top edge of your mat, and then very carefully stack that top leg on top of the bottom leg. Being mindful of your knee as you get there and keeping the ankle firm. Now bring your fingertips behind you, press down, sit up tall. Big breath in, and as you exhale, either stay up or start to come forward slowly. It should feel really good after everything we've done here. Keeping the chest open, the neck lined up with the rest of your spine. And then slowly inhale and come all the way back up. Again, stretch your legs out in front of you. Ground the top of the thighs down as you reach your arms up, big stretch here. And then exhale, release the arms down. All right, we've got one last thing here before Shavasana. So move your blanket to the side and take a block. Lay down on your back. And as you get there, you're going to slide the block underneath on the lowest level. Definitely make sure it's on the lowest level. Okay? Now you're going to straighten your left leg down and work on turning your left thigh in. And really grounding the left thigh down. So when you do that, you should feel like your lower back is arching, so you can even watch here for the first one. Now I'm going to pick up my right knee, and I'm going to hold it with my hands and draw it in, but I'm not going to lose my left leg action. If I lost my left leg action, it would look something like this. Now I'm collapsing, I'm misaligning my spine, and now I'm actually going to get tighter in my hips. So keep the right knee further away, tuck your shoulders underneath, and really ground through your left leg. And then you can bring your right knee in only as much as it will allow you to without collapsing in your lower spine. You may even feel this deep stretch in your low belly when you do it that way, lengthening the inseam of your left leg. And then let's switch to the other side. So straighten the right leg down. Turn the thigh in, push through the heel, and then lift your left knee, hold it gently with your hands. Now without losing the foundation of the right leg, draw the left leg gently in towards your chest. Don't let your lower back collapse. And breathe, stretching, lengthening from your navel all the way down into your right leg. And then release your left foot. Take the block away. And you're ready for your final relaxation. So straighten your legs down on your mat and turn your palms up. And bring your attention again to the hips. And with your awareness, just begin to work your attention around the hips, from the inner hips all the way around to the outer hips. Feel free to stay as long as you like in your final Shavasana, your final relaxation. I recommend setting a timer for 10 minutes or so you can really sink deep into relaxation. It's probably the most important part of the practice, so it's definitely not to be skipped over. If you have extra time, please take it. Thanks so much for being here, for practicing with me. I hope the hips are becoming less of a mystery for you now. Please let me know if there's any questions, any comments, put them in the comment section below. Please subscribe and like all of my videos. It helps me get out more into the world. Down in the comment section below, you're going to also see the link to my new website, my new virtual yoga studio, where you can come and take live stream classes with me on a weekly basis. I'd love to see you in person. I'd love to explore the deeper practice. Now we have this option to see each other and practice together from anywhere in the world. So I invite you to join. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.